And a Baltimore County woman shares her story of survival after an admitted killer held her hostage and stabbed her 11 times during a 24-hour standoff.
You could barely walk. You'd lost a lot of blood. When you finally made it out, how did you feel at that exact moment?
I just kept thinking he's going to come up behind me.
And we begin there, the woman reliving her terrifying ordeal in a conversation with Vincent Hill in a story you're seeing first on Fox.
Boy, Sterling ain't do that.
The agonizing pain of a female, live streamed on Instagram.
Anthony.
Now Erica Hart, sitting down with Fox 45 to share her story of survival.
One of the stab wounds on my neck was right here. I had got stabbed right here, and then I busted my lip on the steps right here. And then 2 of the stab wounds were over here.
The man responsible,
The next day after he came home.
31-year-old Antonio Hart.
That was the Antonio I knew. He was telling me, like, how we were going to go. He's like, should we drive off a cliff? Should I have you tied to me?
During an hours-long standoff, Erica was stabbed 11 times.
You said I'm blue?
Yo did this all in front of the kids too. Unfortunately, 3 kids. In the video, he told her she was turning blue. I guess that was from losing blood or something. Yo, we gotta create better men for our women to love. On her page, she got a whole "I'm missing you" video going on, right? And everybody down in the comments, even of this video we watching, saying stuff like, "Yo, we don't feel sorry for her," whatever the case may be. But who knows how their relationship started out? Who says that he was a villain to her? According to him, he was a demon on the streets, but that don't necessarily mean he was a villain the whole relationship with her. Obviously, he stabbed her 11 times in front of her kids. So you would think after that, it would be no empathy, when somebody victimized you in the sense to as though they almost took you away from here. But her, after the fact, that love she still have, she's missing them. And my thoughts on this is that we got to create better men for our women to love. We got to create better men for our women to love. Yeah, we should crash out. And let me explain, for the right thing. And when I say crash out, I don't mean throw it all away. I'm talking about go all the way for each other in the right direction. He was the leader. They was going to go out together. So she let him lead. But the blind can't lead the blind. They both going to fall in the pit. So again, I'm not going to drag her. I wasn't in there. I wasn't a part of the relationship. But you would think, after all that stress, that intense situation with the standoff with the police, him dying, him stabbing her, we gonna die together. Which way you wanna go out? We need to create better men for our women to love. Let's watch the rest of this.
That's why I'm trying to keep you warm.
I couldn't move. I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't feel this at all. My back was soaking wet.
So you weren't able to walk at this point.
I
You were
couldn't
just
do
on the
nothing.
floor.
He knew I couldn't walk.
While you're laying there, though, what's running through your head?
I kept telling myself I have to control my bleeding because I'm not dying and leaving the kids behind.
Antonio, get up.
Antonio, I need your arms.
But Erica says the man who stabbed her wasn't the man she knew.
So let's talk about mental health. You said there's 2 people you knew, Antonio Hart and Rambo. What's the difference?
Antonio Hart is a very loving person. He is the most loyal person you could ever meet.
Who was Rambo?
Rambo was evil.
Get the hostage negotiator here right now.
Rambo was angry.
See? Called it. But here's the other thing. Knowing when to walk away from situations. I have 2 daughters. Y'all willing that they know to walk away when it's time to walk away. The first time Rambo appeared, at whatever level, red flags should have went off. It's crazy how nowadays, when you talk about relationships between men and women, oh, if he ain't 6 foot or 6 figures or doing this or doing that, can't pay the tab, and we not even dealing with. So we got the right idea about the wrong stuff. We got the right idea about the wrong stuff. When Rambo appears, when Pookie and Ray Ray appears, that's the time to get out of here. And we as a community got to stop producing Pookies and Ray Rays. We got to create better men for our women to love. That's what it boils down to. I'm not going to judge her. I don't know your story. If you're from the streets, you understand the way the streets work, whether you agree with it or not. But what he did to her was wrong. And people looking at her crazy for still missing this guy because she missed Antonio, not Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo. I'm going out with a bang.
I think for black men, they're very stubborn with their mental health.
One thing weighing heavy on his mind, she says.
I need some confessions to do about murders and all that before I die. You hear me?
Confessing to several murders, including a 2010 murder. Sterling
Speak for your black man. Don't speak for all of us, respectfully.
Matthews is serving a 115-year sentence for.
Not a day goes past he didn't talk about Sterling.
I feel bad. It hurt me to my heart. Sterling Matthews doing a life sentence behind the dog.
It wasn't until we were sitting in the house that he was confessing to me about it. And it was him. He had the Hellraiser mask. And it was just at that time there was like a no snitch rule. And Sterling, he held his loyalty and took that charge.
The one thing that kept Erica going.
What kept you alive?
Mason, that kid he's so tough, so strong for a 6-year-old. He's so brave.
He ain't the only one. Welcome home, Donkey. 25 years on 40. Ain't do it. It is a rule. It is a real thing where people keep their mouth closed. And that's when you in those streets, they the laws you abide by. However, yo, no red flags, know when to leave. I get it. Thug, I get it. The adventure, I get it. I get all that. But we gotta know when to pull out. What if she would have died? What about those kids? What about it? He walking around carrying all that pain, all that guilt, because this man got 115 years on some code that, people pick and choose which codes they want to keep and which ones they don't. Right? It's a myth. Right? Actually, and to be perfectly honest, all these rules and all this stuff and all the things we doing out there is destroying our community as a whole across the country. That's another conversation. But obviously, if he committed all these murders, he's carrying a whole lot of pain, a lot of people, spirits, a lot of demons, not getting sleep, worried about somebody spinning a bin on him. When it happens, reliving it, all the things that come with that life, right? Yeah, it's easy to pull that gun out, bang, bang, bang. It's easy. Like little kids could squeeze the trigger. But living with it, the consequences of it, is a different story. Let's finish watching.
Charge.
The one thing that kept Erica going.
What kept you alive?
Mason, that kid he's so tough, so strong for a 6-year-old. He's so brave. I knew I would break him.
Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Vincent mentioned Sterling Matthews, currently serving a 115-year sentence. He was 17 at the time of the murder and always maintained his innocence. He shared his side of the story with Fox 45 News last week.
Did you shoot and kill Daquan Burks?
No, not at all. I had nothing to do with it. Never. Always told the people I was innocent. Had nothing to do with it. Wasn't even there. They wouldn't do what they supposed to do as far as it's like thorough investigation.
Matthews is scheduled for a post-conviction hearing in March. For more on Sterling Matthews, including his mother's alibi for him the night of the murder, head to foxbaltimore.com.
I'm Maxine Stryker.
There it is. Now, hopefully, you'll get his freedom. You know, a lot of people will see you number one male and you come in front of that court without the right type of representation. You can't afford it, whatever, the right type of lawyer, and you're gone. You're going away. If he would have told just to come on to what? To meet the other side of Antonio's gun? So, like, it's a whole lot of moving parts here. The trauma of the kids that survived to witness that, 3 of them. Mason, the mother with the Stockholm syndrome, the PTSD she gonna have. Imagine every other man that's gonna deal with her after the fact. Imagine how she gonna introduce a new man into her life with her kids. Like, how they gonna take that? It's just trauma begotten more trauma, begotten more trauma. Snowball effect going downhill, getting bigger and bigger, and then they have kids, and they inherit that trauma. So whenever you meet a Antonio and he's sweet, and then Rambo show his face, get out of there. Men and women across the board, we need to create better men for our women to love. Women, know the red flags. Do not be afraid to lose people. Sometimes the best thing that ever happened never happens. It's just that simple.